Welcome back, everyone. In our last video, we learned the algorithm called the gyro, and we all ended up with a solved 2x2x2x2, but with the purples and the pinks sitting on the outsides of all of these corners. If you didn't watch that video yet, go check out the playlist that all these videos are in. Watch the first one and then come back here. And the reason that I'm so focused on putting pinks and purples on the outside is that if we take these two apart and we just have two three-dimensional puzzles here, this guy, if you ignore the purples, is exactly the same as this guy, something that we have a lot of familiarity with. And so you can see with yellow on the top, we've got green, and then orange, and then blue, and then red, and obviously white on the bottom. And so literally, like, you can imagine just ignoring, like slicing off this purple part of this piece and just let the other colors expand to fill in that gap. So this top face is the yellow face. This front face is all red, no purple. And then this side face here is all green. It is literally the same as this piece here, yellow, red, and green. And there's a lot to be said for color neutrality when you try to solve the four-dimensional puzzle here. And you can save a lot of time, especially on the very first step of the solution, if you are color neutral. But if you're watching this series, I'm assuming you don't know how to solve the four-dimensional puzzle. And I think that being color neutral when you're trying to learn a brand new puzzle just makes the learning process much more difficult than it needs to be. So let's take these apart, and we are going to try to solve this 2x2x2, this three-dimensional puzzle using standard three-dimensional 2x2x2 techniques. So before we solve the 2x2x2, let's solve the 2x2x2. Let's go ahead and scramble it exactly the same way. We're going to scramble with white in top and green in the front. The scramble is on screen, and it's also in the video description below. R, F2, R2, F2, R2, F, U2, F2, R2. I mentioned that the only prerequisite to solving the four-dimensional puzzle is to be able to solve the three-dimensional 2x2x2, and I said you could solve it with any method you want, but regardless of which method you use, I'm going to encourage you to follow the steps that I do as I solve this 2x2x2 using a basic layer-by-layer approach. I'm going to solve the white layer first because I think that's what most F2L folks do. So let's rotate the cube so that this white, green, orange sticker is right down here, and I'm going to consider this one as being solved. That's the beginning of my white layer. I can put this white piece right next to its friend right here by doing an L. So now we've got those two. And then I'm going to rotate this way, and conveniently, we've got this white piece that can go right down here by doing an R prime. So that's three of the four white pieces. Here's the last one. I'll do a couple of rotations, and then we'll just do the lefty move twice to get this one where it belongs. L prime, U prime, L, U, L prime, U prime, L. So that's our first layer done. And now in terms of orienting the top, so we've got these two yellow stickers here on the side, and I'm going to do a 6-move algorithm. In fact, it is the algorithm that is the standard one for solving this orientation right here. So it's just F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And if we apply that here, again, with the two yellow stickers pointing off to the left, then it will get all the yellows face up. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. So that's orienting the top layer. And then looking around, oh, there's a red bar. Let's go ahead and solve that red bar. And since we have two corners that need to be swapped and they're right next to each other, they're adjacent corners, you can do the T-perm. That's probably the standard way to do this thing. But the T-perm is longer than the A-perm. And it turns out you can solve this thing by doing this A-perm right here. So we've got three corners that need to rotate. The way that I do the A-perm, notice that there's two red stickers matching each other and they're facing away from me. And that's going to be exactly the same with these two red stickers. We're going to face them away from us, just like that. And so I rotate the entire cube X, and then I do R prime, U, R prime, down twice, R, U prime, R prime, down twice, right twice. And so we'll do that exact same thing here. Again, the matching stickers go away from you, and then I'll rotate the entire cube X, R prime, U, R prime, down twice, R, U prime, R prime, down twice, right twice. Typically you have an AUF you need to do at the end here. Now let's go ahead and solve this 2x2x2 using exactly the same algorithm, again on screen and in the video description below. White top, green front, R, front twice, right twice, front twice, right twice, F, U2, front twice, right twice. And now let's solve this exactly the same way as we did before. So again, focusing on this white sticker right here with the green and orange, ignoring all of these purples. So we're going to treat this guy as being solved. And we're going to solve this one right now with an L. There it is. And then this one right here gets solved with an R prime. There it is. And then we'll rotate here and do lefty move twice. L prime, U prime, L, U, L prime, U prime, L. And that's our first layer done. And then we have to do this orientation, same as we did before, but your finger tricks are not going to help you. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. So that's the orientation done. There's my two matching red stickers. I'm just going to hold them facing the back and now do an X cube rotation, so they're actually down here on the bottom. Same 9-move algorithm we did before, it's just the standard A perm, but again, the finger tricks aren't going to help you. R prime, U, R prime, down twice, R, U prime, R prime, down twice, right twice. Typically you have an AUF at the end, just like that. And now we're finally going to bring the rest of the four-dimensional puzzle into play. Pink has been feeling left out. Let's go ahead and scramble this again using exactly the same scramble that we've done a couple of times now. R, front twice, right twice, front twice, right twice, F, U2, F2, and R2. Okay, now we've got a four-dimensional puzzle, and there's no guarantee that this is actually a legal state of the four-dimensional puzzle because you're not allowed to do what I just did, where you just scramble a 2x2x2 on its own, independent of the rest of the puzzle. But anyway, for the purposes of learning this method, we're going to pretend that we got here through a legal four-dimensional scramble and legal four-dimensional moves of this entire puzzle. So let's go ahead and solve this thing. The only difference here is that what we're going to do is carry the pink along for the ride for all of the moves that we do on this purple. So getting white, green, orange solved down here in the front right position. The first turn is to bring this guy down here. So the first turn is just L, just like that. But we're going to bring this guy along for the ride. So we're going to take these two and attach them to each other. I'm going to choose to attach the yellow to this left-hand side. That's the side that I'm about to turn here. It doesn't make any difference which of these sides we choose to attach. I'm just going to choose yellow for consistency's sake. But once you've made a choice, I'm choosing yellow. We got to make that choice for the entirety of solving this purple thing. So remember the goal, the first turn here is just L to solve the white, green, or red piece right there. Let's put it back. And now I'm going to plop this yellow side attached to the left-hand side of purple. And I'm going to do that L turn, but I'm going to do 3 layers. 1, 2, 3 layers in the direction of L. I'll put it back. I've got yellow right there. Just to be consistent with me, you can put green on top. We're trying to do an L to solve this white piece right here. But instead of just doing a single L, we're going to do 3 layers in the direction of L. And now for reasons which are not at all going to be clear at this moment, we are going to take this opposite layer of the pink cube and go the opposite direction from what we just did. We just did L. This guy goes in the opposite direction, L prime. Okay, that was a lot of stuff. We're going to do it a bunch of times. Let me put it all back the way that we had it, just like this. So again, the first turn we'd like to do here is L. That solves that piece right there. I choose to put yellow and attach it to L. Just to be consistent, you could put green on top. We're going to do L, but we're going to do 3 layers of L. And then we're going to do 1 layer of the opposite, L prime, just like that. Take them apart. We've got those 2 pieces solved. Let's now look at the next piece. It's this one right here. I'd like to do an R prime. Puts it right in there. Let's put it back. Again, I'm attaching my yellow to the side that we're about to turn here on purple. Doesn't make any difference now. It doesn't make sense even to say which face is on top because now it's all scrambled, but just keep attaching yellow to the purple cube and everything will work out at the end. So we're doing an R prime, all 3 layers, and then the opposite layer goes the opposite direction, R. Okay, happens this guy is solved again. It doesn't always work out that way. Okay, let's keep going here. We've now got this piece to do. Let's go ahead and put our yellow on this side. We're going to do the lefty move 2 times, but again, we've got to take pink along for the ride. So the first turn is going to be an L prime, So instead we're going to do L prime with 3 layers, L prime there, and then the opposite layer goes the opposite direction. And then we're going to turn the top in a U prime. Let's keep that yellow attached to the purple, always the face that we're moving. So U prime with 3 layers, and then the opposite layer goes the opposite direction. That's a U. Okay, and now that white piece is over here. We just want to do an L next. So again, putting yellow attached to the side, we're going to turn L, 3 layers, L prime, 1 layer. Okay, next up, we got to move this piece over to here. So a U, again, putting the yellow attached to the side of the purple that we're turning. So U, 3 layers U, 1 layer U prime. And now we've got this white piece here. So we got to do an L prime. Again, put yellow, attach it to it. 3 layers L prime, 1 layer L. Almost done. Now we're turning a U prime up on the top, again with the yellow first. U prime for 3 layers, U for 1 layer. And then one more turn, attach the yellow to the left-hand side. 3 layers go L, 1 layer goes L prime. Okay, and with all that done, we've got our white layer completed. And now this guy happens to be off by 190-degree turn. It could have been off by 180 degrees. It could have been off by 90 degrees going the other way, or it could be solved. Just depends on how many turns you had to do and whether they were clockwise or counterclockwise. Now we're going to solve the orientation on the purple cube. So again, it's that 6-mover, FRU, R prime, U prime, F prime. I like to hold my pink cube in my right hand if I can. For the first layer, there was a lot of left-hand side turns on this purple cube, so it's kind of awkward, but I much prefer things on the right-hand side. Okay, so we're doing an F, which is this face right here. Attaching yellow to that face. 3 layers go F, 1 layer goes F prime. Then we're doing R, that's this face. R, R prime. Then we're doing a U, that's this face. U, U prime. Then we're doing an R prime, that's this face, R prime and R. Then we do a U prime, that's this face, U prime and U. And then finally an F prime, which is kind of awkward for me to hold it that way, so probably I'm more likely to hold it like this. So kind of rotating the left-hand cube so that the right hand has an easier time. F prime, F. And just like that, we've got our yellow oriented. First layer is still good, obviously, and now we're off by 90 degrees on this one. That's fine. All that's left now is to permute the yellow pieces. Of course, we're going to have the matching reds just like we did before. We'll hold them so it's facing the back, rotate the whole cube X, and then again, consistently doing this yellow attached to purple business. So we go R prime with 3 layers, and then an R, U, U prime, R prime, and then R, down twice, R, and then R prime, U prime, U, R prime, down twice, and then right twice. Okay, and we said we were going to be off by an AUF most of the time, so here we are. And again, to fix that, we always attach yellow to everything here on the purple. So we attach right up here. We're going to do 3 layers in the direction of U to solve the purple cube. And then, of course, we have to do a U prime up here. And there we go, solved. I mentioned in our last video that we're going to solve this entire puzzle with 3 steps. We just did step number 3. So assuming you've already got a solved pink 2x2x2, you need to then solve the purple 2x2x2, and we just did it, carrying pink along for the ride. I also mentioned that sometimes when you complete step 3, the entire puzzle is done, like we just had it right there, but other times, through no fault of your own, the pink cube will end up off by a 180-degree turn. What I just did there is illegal. You're not allowed to just rotate one layer 180 degrees and then put the puzzle back together, but this is a legal state of the 4-dimensional puzzle. So let's go ahead and figure out how to solve this state. It's a very simple algorithm. This is the second of the 3 algorithms that I'm going to show you in this series of videos. And first I'll show you the algorithm on a standard 2x2x2. What we're going to do is take this solved cube and do RU2 6 times. That's the 2nd time, 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time, and 6th time. And you can see that RU2 6 times has no impact. Great. So we are going to do RU2 on the purple cube. It's already solved, and as we just saw, RU2 6 times has no impact on this solved cube, but it's going to have exactly the desired impact on the pink cube. So we're doing RU2 on this. Doesn't make any difference how you hold it. I'll hold it with yellow top, green front. Does make a difference how you hold this one. We're still attaching the yellow face of the pink cube to purple. Every time we do a turn on purple, yellow has to get attached. So attaching this way, we're going to do R, 3 layers, R prime, 1 layer, and then U2, but 3 layers, and then U2, just the top layer. That's once. We keep attaching yellow, and we do that 5 more times. R, R prime, U2, U2, that's twice. R, R prime, U2, U2, halfway there. R, R prime, U2, U2. R, R prime, U2, U2, one more, R, R prime, and then the most satisfying U2 and U2. And so that's how we handle the case where you have the pink cube off by a single 180-degree turn. That algorithm has maybe been discovered by multiple people, but my friend Eric introduced it to me, so thank you, Eric. This is a good time for us to talk about what kinds of moves we'll be making as we solve this 4-dimensional puzzle. And the kinds of moves that we make fall into exactly 4 categories. Category number 1, you can take these 2 pieces apart, rotate them completely independently of each other, and plop them back together. That's one kind of legal move in the 4-dimensional puzzle. Move number 2 is to rotate any of the long faces 180 degrees. So for example, this entire face right here can get flipped over like that. I can rotate this face right here 180 degrees, any of the long faces 180 degrees. That's move number 2. Move number 3 is the gyro. Remember, that's that algorithm we saw in the last video. It's going to take the outer colors, which happen to be purple and pink here, swap them with the up and down colors. So this is yellow and white. So remember, we saw this in the last video. Exactly the same set of moves. And there it is, purple and pink now up and down, yellow and white now on the outsides of all the corners. And the 4th and final move that we'll do involves essentially taking the right and left hand layers off, splitting them apart, and then rotating this inner cube, and then putting these pieces back together. And that is essentially just rotating the green face, which you can't see when it's attached like that, but you're just rotating the green face. This move I just showed off is called an axial twist. So it's a bit time consuming and awkward to pull the puzzle apart just to do that one rotation. So maybe if you hold your fingers just right, you can grab this middle layer and just rotate it in place. That's an option. I don't like either of those options, honestly. So instead of grabbing the middle layer and rotating it in place, what I much prefer to do is rotate 3 layers, including the 2 that I care about, and then rotate the opposite layer back. So we should see that all that's happened is these 2 middle layers have rotated 90 degrees. And let's do it again. Rotate 3 layers and then the opposite layer in the opposite direction. And hopefully this kind of looks familiar to you because this is the tagging along move that I talked about when we were in this state of the puzzle. We had the pink 2x2x2 completely solved, and we needed to solve this purple 2x2x2, but bringing this guy along for the ride. And so this is that same scramble we had before. And so, for example, we have this piece right here. We'll consider that one to be solved. And I want this guy right here to come down here. So it's just an L that I'd really like to do. But it is not legal in the 4-dimensional puzzle state to just do L. So what we have to do instead is let's get this yellow attached here just to be consistent. So I'm going to do L. But really what I'm going to do is move this middle 2 layers of the puzzle down like that. But that's incredibly awkward for me to do. So let's put it back and do the thing that we did when we were trying to solve this thing and keep this guy along for the ride. We turn 3 layers L, including the 2 that we actually care about. And then to undo, we just turn that opposite layer L prime. And so when we solved this thing, while the pink went along for the ride, we were doing completely legal 4-dimensional space turns. So this guy right here belongs down here in the bottom. So we're going to do an R prime, but we'll attach yellow. R prime for 3 layers, but really only 2 of them are the ones that are supposed to turn, so we balance the scales by undoing this right-hand side here. And so when we did this entire solving the purple cube, but having the pink come along for the ride, we were doing legal turns, and we were doing exactly what the third and final step of this solution method looks like. By the way, the technique of doing these axial twists, that middle 2x2x2 cube rotating around in order to affect only one layer at a time of the purple cube, is called RKT. So RKT is the acronym we use to describe doing axial twists to solve the purple cube and just letting pink go along for the ride. I asked Melinda Green what RKT stood for. She says nobody can remember, so I'm stepping into the vacuum, and I decree that RKT stands for really cool turns. So if you want to practice the step that we did in this video, which is step number 3, take your 2 cubes apart, scramble the purple cube completely independently of the pink cube, and then put the 2 of them back together, and then see if you can solve purple, but bring pink along for the ride, continually attaching the yellow face to the purple whenever you want to make a turn. 3 layers in one direction, 1 layer in the opposite direction. That's a good stopping point for us. Thanks so much for watching.